this big gold, this big gold, and this big gold. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Adam and Tyler World. Thank you for joining me today. It is another fun day, Monday, and I know we've been doing a lot of Funko videos. That's cool, but what we really want to see are the belts. So today we're going to discuss the evolution of the big gold. First off, we got this bad boy. Everybody knows about the big gold. This was the first one ever. It was made in 1986. The first person to ever win it was, Ric Flair, the Nature Boy, of course. Yes, he won it. Then it went through a whole history of things. They went from NWA to WCW to WWF to WWE, and then finally Triple H had this and the Attitude Era belt. They combined them to make the Undisputed Championship belt. So Triple H was the last person to hold this belt and the first person to ever hold the Undisputed Championship belt. But after they merged them together, they got rid of this bad boy forever. Then in 2002, Brock Lesnar was the Undisputed Champion, and he was only going to wrestle at SmackDown, and they had to have a championship for Raw. So Eric Bischoff comes out and gives it to who? Triple H, of course. Why not? He owns part of the company. He's running stuff. Of course he's going to be the last person to hold the other belt and the first person to hold this belt. Then in 2023, this bad boy was given birth by Triple H himself in a hospital just right down the road from here. No. But Triple H did present this as the new World Heavyweight Championship belt because Roman Reigns was, give me a second, the undisputed WWE World Heavyweight Universal Champion. Something, I don't know. It's a too long of a word. But he was that, and he wasn't defending the belt. It was the blue one and the black one. And we had one champ, and he was hogging the titles, so they came up with this bad boy, which I'm glad for, even though I didn't like Roman Reigns as a champion, but that's for another video. But we got this bad boy instead, which I love. I think this belt's awesome. And of course, since it was Triple H presenting it to someone and they had to pick out someone, they had a championship at Night of Champions, and it was AJ Styles versus Seth Rollins. And since Triple H loves Seth Rollins, I mean, we all do, he gave it to him. He gave it to him. You know what I'm saying. He wrestled for it, and then he won it. But now, since we talked about a brief history of the belts, we're going to look at them and compare them and see the differences between them and see what we like and what we hate and figure out which one we like the most. So here they all three are right here. You can see the OG Big Gold, the WWE World Heavyweight Championship belt, and the current WWE World Heavyweight Championship belt, which a lot of people like to say does not have the same lineage as these belts, but I argue that it does because it's got the same name and it looks very much like them, okay? So if you have an argument with that, post in the comments. But here we go. So this is the first one. The original ones were always thinner. They weren't these 4mm thick, but I prefer the 4mm thick because it looks nicer and they get more details in the titles right here. I've had the 2mm before. There was not a lot of detail right here. The letters didn't pop out as much, so I definitely appreciate this one a lot more. We go down here, there's not a lot of detail in the belt, not a lot of etching as opposed to the WWE World Heavyweight Championship belt right here. And then you compare it to this one, look at all the detail on the strap. Even got the WWE logo. So as you can see, there was an evolution of the title. It got better, which is kind of funny because Evolution, the group, broke up because of this title. So right here, and actually it's been broke up because of Randy Orton when he won it, and Triple H beat him up. He had Batista power slam him, and they beat him up, and then Triple H fought him, and blah, 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 blah. But let's go back to the title. But right here, you can see all the detail right here. It definitely pops more because it's also a 4mm title. And right here, if you look at this, it's got the little red stones, bigger red stones, and then now we have these white stones right here. And of course, you can change out the nameplate right here, the nameplate right here. But on this one, they got the side plates because WWE figured out they could make a lot more money selling side plates than the nameplates right here. And then you got this one. Look how thick that one is. Jeez Louise. They talk about them being stacked. This is stacked. So it looks like it's like 20mm thick compared to that one. Night and day. Got the giant WWE logo in the middle. WWE has to make sure you know who the championship belongs to. Like, oh, is this AEW? No, it's got a big giant WWE logo in the middle. That's how you know. It says WWE World Champion. It says WWE World Heavyweight WWE World Heavyweight Wrestling Champion. And then we got this one. It says just World Heavyweight Wrestling Champion. A lot of people don't like that it's got the WWE logo up there. It doesn't really bother me that much. But there's definitely a lot more detail on this one than the middle one. A lot smaller detail. But I do prefer the giant red rubies the most out of all of them. But that is them. Oh, and this is the only one with a gold tip. See, that one's of course plain right here. Got a little more detail, and then all the detail in the world right here on this one. If we flip it over real quick, you can see that they have it where you can't change out the main plate and stuff. The only thing you do is change out the side plates. And then this one is red croc on the back, which I prefer not to have red croc, but that's how it came. And this one's just black on the back. We can see the screws on this one and this one. So there you have it. That is my quick review and history of this big gold, this big gold, and this big gold. So please leave your comments in the comments section and let me know which one's your favorite. If I had to pick, it's either the classic WWE World Heavyweight Championship belt, this big gold, or the current one, this big gold. I'm not a big fan of the OG big gold, this big gold, just because it was so flat. It just had no curve to it, and the rubies were smaller, but that's my opinion. That is it. Hope everybody enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like this video, comment below, and subscribe. And as always, I do appreciate it greatly. Until next time, peace. This big gold, and this big gold. 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 This big gold, and this big gold.